Alright, hello, today I'm going to be ranking all Generation 8 Legendary Pokemon, and it's going to be based on my opinion, that's depending on design, competitive use, overall, my opinion on it. It's going to be a whatever tier list, so hope you guys enjoy, and if you guys disagree, feel free to respectfully disagree in the comments below. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, we're going to start with Zamazenta, and Zamazenta is going to be a B tier. This Pokemon... Ooh, they made Zacian and was like, oh, okay, sick, let's make a broken dog Pokemon. And they looked at Zamazenta and was like, no, let's make sure it's balanced. This Pokemon would have benefited so greatly from the move Body Press. And in case you don't know what Body Press is, it's a fighting type move that does more damage the higher your defensive status. This Pokemon's main gimmick is that it's defensive beast, or is supposed to be. Why couldn't I give it Body Press out of all moves? That was one of the most confusing things I've probably ever seen from Pokemon. Next up, Regieleki, easily S tier. I love the design, so sleek. I know it's like basically all electric type moveset, but it's a very good utility mon still, very good and competitive. Pure electric, and you can pop on an air balloon. It's the fastest mon in the game. You hop on a choice specs with it, and you can max speed timid it, and it's absolutely bonkers of a Pokemon. Next one up, we got Calyrex and Spectrier, but that's an A tier mon. It's OP, but because of its reliance on Trick Room, I'm not really like a huge fan of it. Like I still love it, don't get me wrong. Once it's a Trick Room, it's an absolute monster. But like that Trick Room is really what's off-putting. I like mons that are fast and get right into it. Trick Room mons that are kind of slow and like, yeah, I'll wait for it, but other than that, it's kind of meh. And speaking on its design, I feel like the fusion concept of it was kind of silly how these rains just suddenly made a fusion. I mean, it's whatever. Its ability, having two abilities, Unnerve and Chilling Neigh, basically a Moxie and like not even being able to eat berries. I thought that was pretty sick. Honestly, that props on Pokemon for putting one of the most unique abilities to these Calyrex fusions. Speaking of Calyrex fusions, let's move on to Calyrex and Spectrier duo. And this duo, easy S tier. So OP. It looks so majestic with Calyrex riding on Spectrier rather than Glastrier. Just its moveset, its abilities, the fact it has an ability where its Moxie is basically a Moxie, but for special attack, like, and that's nuts. It gets a 120 base move power, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 100 base power. It's a ghost type move that hits both targets. It is so good. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of the fusion concept, but I can't look past it with all the other things. Regular Calyrex, trash competitive, and its design is pretty stupid with that huge blueberry on top of it said, like, whoa, what the heck is that? Eternatus, easy C tier. I'm not a huge fan of Eternatus. Eternatus, like, as a third legendary, it's just so obscure. And like, I get it, it's supposed to be the whole Dynamax phenomenon, but like, as the Dynamax, like, legendary, if you want to say, or the Dynamax creator or whatever, it looks so weird. I don't know, it was a bit off-putting. On top of that, it's not really that great and competitive. It's a dragon poison type. That's a pretty unique typing, but dragon's already trash in itself because of fairy type that literally just washed that entire type. And I don't know, it's an okay mon. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but it's okay. Articuno, put it as a B tier. Honestly, Articuno coming in was, before the expansion pass, was my favorite of the birds. It looks sick, and I thought it would be so sick and competitive. The competitive is what really drooped it down for me, and that's why it's in B tier. Otherwise, it would have been easy A, maybe S tier, but I still love its design. Its shiny is even better. I love all three of the Galarian bird shinies. They all pay homage to the Cantonian birds, and I thought that was pretty sick. And Articuno, even though it's sick, I can't overlook that it's pure of a Cantonian Articuno, and this Articuno is practically the same. Sacrifying though is a cool type, and its ability, it's not so bad. Moltres, I'll put it as an A tier. Its competitive use is what really intrigues me. I love how many ways you can use it. Weakness policy, you can use it in other ways. Utility potential. Like, it's a great mon. I wasn't a huge fan of the design at first, but it's kind of grown on me as more and more time has passed. Galarian Zapdos, easily my favorite of the three birds now. It's so cool. I love how they redesigned Zapdos into being this ostrich type mon. It totally shifted it. It became a fighting and flying type. It's such a cool take on Zapdos that I find really intriguing. I actually frankly wish they changed all three of these birds into something different, but Zapdos, you know, I thought that was cool. Glastrier, put it in a B tier. It's not as cool as Glastrier and Calyrex, but nevertheless, it was cool, and it was cool in the series that it was potentially viable before Calyrex and Glastrier's fusion was a thing, and the competitive scene. And I think last year, I actually made a team with Glastrier, starting Glastrier and Dusclops and Tapu Fini, back when they first released in whatever series it was. Maybe Series 7? I think it was Series 7, Series 8, 7, 6, something like that. The point is, like, it was a cool mon. I love running Trick Room with it because at the time Dusclops was OP. Next up is Regidrago. Regidrago, honestly, an A tier mon. It's not an S tier for the sole fact that it relies so heavily on that move Dragon Energy, and because of Fairy's prominence being probably the best type in the game by far, this Pokemon's move just cannot be get off at any time. Dragon's Energy is such a cool animation, such a cool move, but it just can't be used at any time because of the prominence of Fairy type. Other than that though, I thought Regidrago was a sick design. I actually like his design more than Regieleki. I thought it looked sick, even though they just put Charizard's face on the side of it. It still looks cool, and I love this mon. Spectrier, same thing, it's a B tier. It's a cool mon, I love the design of it, but the moveset of it being pretty lacking. The fact that it wrote Mudshot on this Pokemon is what really makes this Pokemon very funny and pretty bland. I like regular Glastrier more than regular Spectrier, but Spectrier nevertheless is a pretty cool design and a pretty cool Pokemon. Water type Urshifu, A tier mon, it was so good. I used it in Series 5, I was undefeated with this. I surrounded this team with Water type Urshifu, Crocodile, Duraludon, and a couple other mons, and I thought this team, it was so good. I went undefeated for a bit, and I thought Water type Urshifu was severely underrated compared to its counterpart. Now I'll tell you Dark type Urshifu, it's gonna be S tier because of the reasons I listed it. Consistent damage, cool design, get right out there, you know, it's a fascinating mon. I love that. We got Zacian. Oh my god, Zacian's gotta be here. Zacian is so good. It's got the two best types as its typing. It's a Fairy and Steel type. It's got a super good ability with Intrepid Sword, giving it a +1 attack right on stat. Giving it a +1 attack as soon as it comes in. It gets Behemoth Blade, such a powerful move. It's so good. On top of that, its stats are probably easily the best in the game. You could argue this, you know, it's not even an argument. This Pokemon is easily the best. You thought Xerneas was bad? They had Xerneas and put it on drugs, and we got Zacian instead. And Zacian is so good. Even without its sword form, it is a daunting Pokemon to beat that Pokemon because it's so good in so many areas. And if Zamazenta got Body Press, it probably would have been an A tier mon. They thought Xerneas was bad, but this is even worse, and they're gonna have to do something about Zacian. These are all Generation 8 Legendaries ranked in my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this tier list, and yeah, that's it.